Stream. Let's make sure I get on my other. So hi TikTok. It's usually I go on that other IG on every Wednesday at 6:30, but I decided to try TikTok this time because there are a lot of people on TikTok who don't get to talk to me live or ask questions. So welcome to my Wednesday night live stream that I do every Wednesday at 6:30 Pacific time. Let me open up the comments over here. Here on StreamYard on this camera. So if it looks like I'm looking up, that's because I'm looking up at my TikTok camera. And down here are my StreamYard people, which include YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and where else? Everywhere. So hello, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's 6:30. Hi, everybody. So I like to take 3 quick questions before I go over to my Patreon private Zoom room, which anyone can join. It's $4 a month. It's pretty simple, where you get free-ish relationship advice whenever you need it, whatever you're going through. So let's do 3 quick questions here. For some reason, StreamYard is not posting my comments. What I like people to do first is just tell me where you're watching from. It's always interesting to know where people are. So please say like whatever, city, state, country. I know when I do this usually on Instagram, I see people all over the world in the funnest different time zones, really. So, and why am I not seeing any comments loading on StreamYard? That's interesting. Let's see. Maybe nobody's here on my other thing. So I'll just talk to TikTok until some of my other people come from Facebook and other places. So hello from Long Island. Hello, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Nicaragua. Nice. I love Nicaragua. I had a great vacation there once. It was beautiful. Hi, Chicago. Hi, Minneapolis. How are you? Here we go over here. There's Alan in Illinois. Good to see you, Alan. Views on EMDR. That'll be question number 1. Remind me if I forget. Post it again when I'm answering the questions. Oh la la, from Paris. How beautiful. South Carolina, La La Land. That's where I am. I'm in Los Angeles. Hey, Toronto. Go Toronto. I'm from Toronto. I used to live in Cabbagetown and Downsview. So, Montreal. My daughter was at that big music festival, that EDM music festival in Montreal this past weekend, and she sent me so many pictures because my nephew was performing. He was one of the stars. His name's Cloverdale, whatever that means. Hi, Victoria, BC. I lived there too. I went to middle school. I lived in Saanich. I'm from everywhere. Saudi Arabia. Hello, welcome. I have no idea what time it is for you there. Clearwater, Florida. I love Florida. Oh, hello over here from Malaysia in Southeast Asia. Welcome. It's good to see you on this camera too. Yay, Toronto loves me back. Yay, I miss Toronto. I was actually there a couple of weeks ago. I went to a wedding in Ottawa, family wedding. The borders have been closed, as you know, for almost 2 years. So it was a really big deal to go home and be with family. And Vancouver. Who doesn't love Vancouver? Good to see you. Hi, Chicago. How are you? Okay, so let's get to the questions. The first question somebody asked me, hi, Puerto Rico. My boyfriend does a lot of work in Puerto Rico. In fact, he does movies there. My kids are great. Thanks for asking. That'll be question number 2. Question number 1 was, what do I think of EMDR? EMDR, somebody type in what it stands for. Eye movement desensitization. What's the R? Hi, Kentucky. Hi, Melbourne, Australia. I actually was a patient of EMDR many, many years ago, working through some childhood trauma. And I'm a big believer in it because in many ways, it's like opening up the circuit board of your brain and helping your brain make decisions about what belongs in the past and what belongs here emotionally. I had a trauma. I guess I'm so used to, especially on TikTok, sharing these very personal stories. I might as well just continue. When I was a kid, I had a dentist who, when you wouldn't open your mouth wide enough because you were a tiny kid, I think I was 7, he would put that suction thing down the back of my throat and put his hand over my mouth and nose until I nearly passed out. I mean, literally, I fought him so hard, my shoes flew off. And I remember the nurses had tears in the corner of their eyes, but nobody went to get my parents. Nobody went to get help. You know, all these little traumas or big traumas start to come into like mistrust in relationships, right? If you don't trust adults. So anyway, I did EMDR and I retrieved that memory. And it was like, what I described to her, it was like, you know, when you get up from a restaurant and you went, oh my God, I forgot my purse. It's right there, like something so important to me and I just forgot it. That's how it felt like when I retrieved the memory. And then I was able to work through it and process it. So yeah, I'm a big believer. Okay, next question we have. What did someone else ask me? Oh, thank you. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. How do you deal with heartbreak? Moving on. It hurts a lot. It does. And I want you to know that when your brain feels emotional pain, it is very much like a physical pain. The fear centers, the pain centers, sorry, are exactly the same. So what we want to do though is get that pain out of our emotional places and force it into our prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, so we can process things, right? I will say the number one thing you want to do when you're going through a heartbreak with somebody, nowadays especially, is block them on everything, all social media, and tell your friends not to mention them if they're running into them, because you need to get a clear head of a world separate from them. But if you're being triggered all the time by memories of them because you're looking online, so that's the first thing. Second thing, don't isolate yourself. Surround yourself by people who love you just for you. Friends, family, coworkers, get together and laugh, because you're going to access different parts of your personality instead of just the pained parts, right? And I will say that it is time. Time will heal. Now, if you find that you're having these patterns over and over, you're picking the same kind of person, they wear different clothes, drive a different car, but they're the same kind of person, then you're going to want to get into therapy and learn more about your attachment style. Learn why you're choosing these people. Learn why this pain belongs in the past. And these guys are just, or girls, whatever, are just a convenient object for now. So I'm sorry you're feeling that. Thank you for the compliments. It's very sweet. Everybody, I know, especially on TikTok, people have called me an old auntie or whatever. So one woman said, I kind of liked it. She said, you give like rich auntie vibes. I was like, I'll go with that. That's fine. I am 59 years old. And I just, because I modeled when I was young, I've had no work done, no Botox, no injections, no nothing. I am what I am. But you know what, guys? I know lighting. I bought that big box light that you get on Amazon, and I know a thing or two about makeup. So that's why. Okay, any questions coming in on StreamYard? I don't see anybody on this camera posting questions, so let me go up to TikTok. Let's see what else we have on TikTok. Anybody have any relationship questions for me? I know somebody earlier asked how my kids are. So my 18-year-old has a job at a Pilates studio. I just drove her to work. I'm very proud of her because this is the non-neurotypical kid with lots of learning disabilities. And she used to be a little bit on the spectrum. So to see her so functional after all my hard work is a big deal. My older daughter, as you all know, because you can't be a mother with a single mother with this experience without telling the world every 5 minutes. It's my job. My daughter graduated from Harvard last year. You know, we have to say that. That's our job, because for me, it was like winning the single mother lottery. So she graduated last year and she's working in Washington, D.C. What are my thoughts on open relationships? I think open relationships are absolutely functional for people who have avoidant attachment style or people who know how to manage their sexual jealousy. That combination are about 5% of the population. Now, I recently had this woman on my radio show from the Kinsey Institute who is sort of considered the leading scholar and authority on polyamorous families. And she's done so much research cross-culturally around the world. She said in America, for instance, about 20% of people have experience with some form of open relationships or polyamory, but only about 5% can sustain them, because we evolved to have this very important mechanism called sexual jealousy. And sexual jealousy is your stomach telling you this isn't right. It was designed to keep mate poachers from stealing your mates, and it was designed to keep unwanted children out of your nest that aren't your genetic kids, right? And so I am not a fan of open relationships personally. And I also believe that there are a group of people, especially women, because we have an oversupply of women in our mating marketplace right now, who are going along with these ideas of ethical non-monogamy because they want to keep the guy, because there are just fewer guys in the mating marketplace. So I want people to be aware of who they are, be aware of their feelings, and not hurt themselves in relationships. That's all I want. If you're cool with it and your partner is really cool with it and everybody's honest, Do whatever you want. There's no rules. But unfortunately, too often, people with an anxious attachment style will get into these traumatic bonds. These bonds are really traumatic for them. So it's not like I'm stuck in the past. I stay with the research and the data. And more than anything, I want to help people heal who are re-injuring themselves in painful relationships. Okay. Why is there an oversupply? Because more women are getting educated and entering the workforce. In the American workforce, there are actually more women in the workforce than men. Of course, not enough women in boardrooms and in ownership positions, but more female employees. And also the feminization of college campuses has been going on for the last couple decades. I teach at a college campus and my classes are, 80 to 90% female. So women are surging ahead. And as a result, they want to date a guy. They don't like to date down in their idea. They want to date a guy who has as much education and makes as much or more money as they do. So that means that peer group of men is shrinking. And a lot of them are riding this wave of easy sex. That's why I teach good negotiation skills for women so that they can get a commitment early on, if that's what they want. If they want to become a mother and have a father along. Okay, so 5 more minutes, and then I'm going over to my Patreon page where I do a private Zoom room every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can join my Patreon for like $4. It's simple. Patreon is patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Welsh. Patreon.com/ TikTok's backwards. Maybe that's slash. Anyway, you're welcome to join. We do a private Zoom room. If you're shy, you don't have to keep your camera on or your mic on. You can just listen to the conversation. But I like it better because instead of a bunch of comments on the screen, I get to really engage with people and get to know them. So I'm really enjoying my private Zoom rooms. We call them Wednesdays with Dr. Wendy. How did I deal with being a single parent and the judgments and social stigma that come with it? I lived in a very large city and I developed a village of single mothers. So I didn't have to deal. I'll be honest though, Sundays were rough because all my mom friends from the schools and whatever, that was sort of family day and they'd be with their husbands. And so, but I did make a great village of other single parents and we even traveled together and did everything. Any more questions? What is the question? How do you accept younger men as boyfriend, husband? Huh? My boyfriend's 3 years older than me. So are you asking for yourself? Do you accept a younger man? Hey, it's fine with me. There's no age ain't nothing but a number, except if somebody wants to reproduce and somebody else doesn't, right? And then it could be an issue. How can I not be so overthinking in a relationship? I always get feelings for men. Yeah, well, this is a great symptom of having an anxious attachment style, right? Where your brain is, we call this ruminating about like, when are they going to text back? When is he going to call me? Does he like me? Ugh. And people who have a secure attachment style can calmly wait. They do get a little butterflies in their stomach as they get excited to see somebody, but they're not worried about abandonment. They're not worried that they don't like the person. Thank you for saying you like my TikTok videos. They are so much fun to make. They really are. How do you meet women when you don't want to do dating sites or meet at a bar? What's left? A traffic jam? Church? I don't know. I would actually say common interests. Join a club that does something. Charity, volunteer for something, a garden club, a wine tasting club, learn to play a sport that women like. I always tell men, look, if you want to meet women in the real world, please go on a breast cancer walk. There are 5,000 women for each one man there. Some of these, like the Susan G. Komen one I went on last year, it had like 20,000 women in it. And there were like 12 happy men working the crowd as we walked along. Why are you surprised I met someone online? That's where everybody meets everybody. Really? That's where everyone does. Okay. So I am going to log off now and log on to my Patreon, Gilligan's Island. It was my favorite show growing up. So if you would like me to answer more of your questions, come on over to Patreon right now, patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. Sign up every Wednesday at 6:30. We do a private Zoom room where you can ask me anything. But in addition, on there, if you email me private questions, let me tell you, my Patreon subscribers, I think of as my employers. So when I get up in the morning, I check my Patreon before anything, and I answer private emails about people's relationship questions. I want to remind everybody, though, this is not psychotherapy. This should be construed as advice giving from an educated friend, or as people like to say, an old auntie. No, I say old auntie. What did somebody say? A rich old auntie. Anyway, so I'm happy to help you out and share my knowledge in relationship science with you. Please come over to my Patreon, patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. But I'll be back here at 6:30 next Wednesday, or 6 o'clock next Wednesday, and 6:30, I'm always on Patreon. See you soon. Bye.